This is your weekly IUP TV News Bulletin. My name is Ryan Malone. The Green Phase has finally started this month, and since then, businesses started opening up with limited capacities, and parks are also open for visitors. After being home for close to 3 months, a lot of people are excited to welcome this new normal. Marven Jeune has the story.
The moment we have all been waiting for. Well, at least most of us. Is it coming sooner than expected? Or are there more delays to come?
The part I miss most about outside is just the fact that I knew I could go anywhere I wanted to. And now because of coronavirus, I can only go to the grocery store or stay at home. Not many choices.
Most places in Pennsylvania will be in the green phase starting June 5th. This will mean stores will begin to open back up and restaurants will accept dining in, with some limits, of course. Philadelphia, on the other hand, will have to wait. Nearly 74,000 cases, 64 more deaths. Philly is on the track to enter yellow phase. Many raise the question, when will outside be safe again? Whether the green phase means everything back to normal or whether we can hang out with friends outside as we used to.
The first thing that my friends and I are going to do when our area reaches the green phase is we're going to go downtown. We live so close to it and we rarely ever go there, so we realized that not being able to go there made us want to go there more.
None of these phases are a complete return to normal. Masks, social distancing, and cleanliness is still encouraged. States also limiting crowd size to 250 in the green phase counties, and in-store retail can start to resume Friday. How will people start to enjoy the new normal? This is Marven Jeune reporting for IUP TV News.
More about the Green Phase, our reporter Burke-Thomas visited local businesses on how they prepared themselves to get back in the routine.
Here in Philadelphia, under Governor Tom Wolf's orders, starting June 5th, 34 out of 67 counties will be entering the green phase. The green phase means that things can start getting back to normal, as long as all businesses follow the CDC and Department of Health guidelines. Now that non-essential businesses are beginning to open back up and parking lots are starting to fill back up with pedestrians, people are ready to get back to their normal lives because they can't wait to go to certain stores that they missed.
I miss hair stores mostly, and then I also miss dining in.
While shopping at stores, it's still best that people continue to be cautious so that way everyone stays safe.
I'm still continuing to wear my face mask in stores. I'm still following the social distance rules of 6 feet apart. I try not to touch my face so much, and I make sure to wash my hands every time I leave the store.
Since everyone is so excited to get back to the new normal, pedestrians are ready to get back to the non-essential businesses that were closed.
I prefer to shop in stores instead of online.
Due to the recent protests in Philadelphia, which led to looting, many stores have decided to board up their storefronts with sheets of wood to keep their place of business safe. In most cases, the looting has either caused some stores to close until it can reestablish itself or close for good. But now that things are calming down and starting to get back to normal, make sure that you stay safe. This is Burke-Thomas reporting for IUP TV News.
Similar to the U.S., some countries have gone towards the green phase and started opening up businesses and schools. Before we know it, they will also be opening their countries for foreign students, tourists, and visitors. Our reporter Trent Gross described how this phase might affect studying abroad.
Since the COVID-19 outbreak caused a travel ban on March 14th, many students have been sent home from their semester studying abroad early.
In Hamburg, Germany, and I had to scramble to find a flight home by Friday, March 13th at midnight after Trump announced the travel ban Wednesday evening.
This leaves these students wondering when they will get the chance to go back. The good news is that some countries are looking to resume traveling for tourism soon. These include Thailand, France, Greece, and Spain. I asked Dr. Gomes Izquierdo, a Spaniard, to describe how Spain will be reopening.
So July 1st is the cutoff date. What that means is that at the time being, for the month of June, there are restrictions. That means that people entering Spain have to go through 14 days of quarantine. Whether tourists or citizens or whoever comes into or through the border of Spain, they have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. But after July 1st, the government has passed a new law because tourism is very big in Spain. Tourism accounts for upwards of 12% of the GDP. So they need to have a tourism season. The government has acted on that. And after July 1st, there will be no quarantine requirement. So tourists can come into Spain with no quarantine requirement. Of course, if you are from the Schengen area, from one of the European Union countries in the Schengen area, then you don't need passports. If you're an American citizen, you do need a passport and a visa, except for tourists. Tourists don't need a visa. You have a 90-day period.
Each country has their own prerequisites and stipulations about who can cross their borders. A major factor is the country that you are coming from and how their situation is. For example, Germany is only allowing members of the EU in, and considering countries such as Turkey, UK, and Iceland for their ability to flatten the curve. However, that does not mean that all students will have the possibility to return soon, as some countries are only opening their borders for business or to visit family.
Soon, I would assume, because the restrictions have to do with quarantine rather than the prohibition of entering or not entering. So as far as I understand, students can come in starting July 1st with no requirement for quarantine, because this rule would apply to them as well. As long as they maintain the social distancing and they follow government guidelines in terms of health, there should be no issue with that.
With the uncertainty of when students can travel abroad, some other options are available. Arcadia University is offering a virtual Europe tour where an instructor can teach a classroom from London, Dublin, Barcelona, and more at the cost of $1,500 per course.
Virtually studying abroad wouldn't be able to give you the immersion into the culture that studying abroad is all about.
Until the curve of COVID-19 cases is flattened globally, there is no telling when students will be able to study abroad again freely. This has been Trent Gross with IUP TV.
Studying abroad is certainly far more interesting than being at home. Now that some European countries like Spain and Thailand will be open in July without a 14-day quarantine requirement, some people might decide to study abroad. But if you can't study abroad, perhaps you can use this time to learn what you always wanted to learn. I had a chance to talk with my friend Nick Bentz on how he teaches himself guitars during these slow days.
With today's technology and things like Google and YouTube, the ability for people to self-learn new things has become much easier. Many people are using this quarantine to teach themselves new things like how to sew or even how to play an instrument. I then caught up with my friend Nick Bentz, who has been teaching himself guitar through YouTube this quarantine, to ask him some questions.
So teaching yourself anything, I think, inherently has its pros and its cons, because you're the one who's it's not like you're sitting through whatever like BS class that you don't really enjoy or you have potentially have no interest in. So you're actually taking the initiative to go and do that. So you obviously have some interest in that, and I am interested in learning how to play the guitar, and I do have a want and a drive to do that. The drawback to that is when it comes to actually getting the useful guidance, because it's all your initiative and it's entirely up to you to pick and choose where you're getting your sources and your information from. So I do watch a lot of guitar videos on YouTube and I really enjoy it. A lot of them are more entertainment per se than informational, even though there is an informational spin to it.
According to a recent study, more than 7 in 10 users of YouTube use their videos to solve a problem or teach them how to do something in their job field or hobby. I then asked Nick how he uses YouTube for educational purposes.
There's a million different informational videos on YouTube, and they all have a little bit of a different spin to them. Like, you can look up how to learn X song, and there will be 50 different videos, each showing you a slightly different way of how to play it and how to do it. So part of that is the individual process of figuring out what works for you.
With the mass number of videos on YouTube, you can learn and teach yourself how to do almost anything. Professional musicians become famous solely by just watching and learning from Google and YouTube. Why can't you? For IUP TV News, this is Ryan Malone.
Commencement cancellations happen everywhere in this country, and some students were disappointed not only about the commencement ceremony, but the whole end of their senior year experience. One of our reporters, Marven Jeune, talked to a member of his family on what it means by being an unforgettable experience.
Commencement and graduation is a big celebration, not only for the graduates, but also for the family. This is Gia, a senior from Cheltenham High School.
All I wanted was them to hear my name say Gia St. Paul across the stage, and I would walk up across the stage and get my diploma.
Around the first week of June, all schools celebrate high school graduation. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, all 67 schools in Pennsylvania had to close the remainder of the academic school year and ended up canceling the in-house commencement, affecting 1.7 million students, thousands of which are graduating. Because of events such as trips or proms, you may not realize how much closing did in fact affect seniors. But for those who've been a high school senior, you may recall your senior year as something you've always looked forward to. Students and parents around the U.S. have been creating and making prom and commencement an unforgettable moment, from collaborating with national TV or local TV. This is Marven Jeune reporting for IUP TV News.
Graduation for IUP students will be postponed until early September. For many graduates, prior to getting their degrees, they have to complete an internship. Unfortunately, many internship sites have canceled this program due to government mandate. Universities tried to adapt by providing students experiences in this program while trying to improve student skills to help them prepare for their future career. Here is the story.
The global pandemic, labeled COVID-19, has put most of the country on lockdown since the beginning of March. IUP hasn't held an in-person class since March 16th and has transitioned to online classes and internships. Many of IUP's major departments have created remote internship programs for all of their interns this summer, and it has caused a lot of transitioning for both their students and faculty. I caught up with IUP Communication Media Department Assistant Chairperson Dr. Vicky Ortiz to ask her about the sorts of things the faculty did to prepare for remote internships.
Our first concern was that, of course, a lot of the students that had already secured internships would now no longer have the ability to do those internships. And as you know, most of our students do their internships, well, half do their internship after they're done with coursework. So that means that they couldn't graduate. So we kind of scrambled to put together something for them to still be able to A, graduate on time, and B, also get the experience that you would get when you're doing a 9-credit internship, right? It's 360 hours.
Many of IUP's faculty seems to be extremely professional and prepared for this transition. The students are having a tough time as well during this pandemic. I met up with fellow IUP Comm Media senior Trent Gross to ask how this has affected him.
So the hardest part of transitioning to an internship from real life face-to-face to online is easily the fact that my internship is going to be paid. So now I have to have an internship that's unpaid and then also work on top of that. Because my goal was to get paid internships, and I wouldn't have to worry about two separate things, like just to get an internship and then also get paid for it all at once.
Of course, this pandemic has caused chaos all over the world. It has created many issues for colleges and universities too. However, IUP seems to be handling the struggles very well. Reporting for IUP TV News, my name is Ryan Malone.
Time flies. Now we start enjoying summer. With travel plans having been postponed, a lot of people turn to gardening. Our reporter Trent Gross visited his local gardening center. Here is his story.
Spring has sprung, and now is one of the best times to get plants right before the growing season. Many garden centers, greenhouses, and nurseries have remained open during this pandemic, allowing people to spruce up their homes.
Well, for us, we were lucky enough to get a farm, exemption because we're farm support, so we were able to be open. May is always incredibly crazy here for us, but we were even more crazy, more so because everybody else was closed. We have sold out of things quicker this year than we ever had before.
Plants have many different health benefits, ranging from allergy relief, improving mental health, and adding humidity and oxygen.
Having plants and taking care of plants, it not only gives me like a hobby to do, because there's not much to do right now during quarantine, it also is really satisfying watching like propagation take place, like cutting off pieces of plants and then putting them in water and allowing them to grow. It's really satisfying to watch the roots shoot off. It gives me something to do and it cleans the air, and plants are really beneficial for you and your health.
Some plants will even continue to provide oxygen even after the sun sets, such as succulents, snake plants, and spider plants, which will eventually grow tiny little spiderettes. If you're more into flowers, then you're in luck. Houseplants such as peace lilies and African violets will appeal to you. As with all plants, it is important to keep some crucial things in mind.
Care requirements, light and water are important. The best situation for most houseplants is going to be a bright indirect light. That's the best. Almost anything will thrive there, whether it's a low light or a full sun. Bright indirect light is ideal. Pot size, I think the biggest mistake people make with houseplants is overpotting. By that I mean using a pot too big for the plant. You don't want to take a little plant and put it in a huge pot and say, oh, but then I won't have to repot it for a long time and it'll just be so happy and grow. But it turns out it rots because the pot is way too big and it doesn't dry out properly.
All greenhouses, nurseries, and garden centers are different. Some of them are more than just a store for plants. This greenhouse I visited had picnic tables and goats for patrons to enjoy with friends and family. Taking care of plants is meant to be a relaxing experience, offering a visual representation of the care you provided it, often lasting many years. This is Trent Gross reporting for IUP TV.
Many parts and counties in Pennsylvania have been in the green phase early this month. While all stores can be opened, restrictions still remains. Wearing masks are still widely expected. Our reporter, Marven Jeune, shares his observation on how masks can be a new culture or even a new fashion. Here is the story.
For some people, masks are simply something you must wear during this pandemic time. As the pandemic continues to take effect, more people have different types of masks, maybe based on certain fabrics or their favorite sports team. So, what do you think about wearing masks? I think that it's something to do. It's a step we could take to be a little safer. You know, I don't think it's a be all end all, but I think it's something it's a good idea. Like, if it helps stop spreading it to one person, I think then it's a good idea to wear one if you can. Not everyone wants to comply. One reason might be difficulty breathing. While some refuse to comply, others use this moment to let their creativity shine. Similar in the US, masks are also required to wear in China, Japan, or South Korea, and many other places. For example, this requirement is not difficult to follow, since a lot of people are used to wearing masks in the first place. What makes it interesting is during this pandemic time, some people are taking this time to be creative and are designing masks and taking a fashion approach by using different fabric, including leather, cotton, silk, and some even go as far as to make full headdresses out of masks. With this time of uncertainty, masks might continue to exist, whether to wear just to go to the store, or when you travel, or just to make a fashion statement. This is Marven Jeune reporting for IUP TV News.
Green phase means vacation. So many people can't wait to leave home, not necessarily to travel overseas, even as easy as camping with family and friends. Trent Gross will share on what it means by vacation during this pandemic time.
Summer is approaching fast, and with it, many people are still wondering what they will be doing about their summer vacation plans.
Well, I was supposed to go to the beach in a couple weeks, and because I can't leave the state due to my job, because I'd have to get quarantined for like 2 weeks when I get back, I'm unable to go. So that's unfortunate, and I was supposed to go on a trip in the end of summer too, which might get canceled.
As more and more counties move to the yellow stage of reopening, campsites and state parks are opening their gates and allowing visitors in. Camping and hiking are a safe way to take a vacation and get away from the mundane cycle of everyday life.
While hiking, keep social distance 6 feet apart. When you're using the bathrooms, bring as little personal belongings in. Make sure you're washing your hands before leaving, before touching your personal belongings. I know it's tempting to at pet-friendly sites to pet dogs, but most likely the owners are kissing their dogs, so try to refrain from petting the dogs.
While the parks might be opening, not all their features will be made available right away. Access to features such as amphitheaters and playgrounds still have an unknown opening date. Something to keep in mind is that bathhouses will be closed for sanitation reasons. Most state parks are allowing only one bathroom open per daytime use, which is essential to prepare. However, attractions such as bodies of water, forest trails, and public parking remain open for leisure, allowing beginners to learn more about nature with posts along the trails. Even with some of the features lacking, camping still proves to be a viable option.
Yeah, I do. Even with all the restrictions in state parks, I think it's still a great option for a vacation because you're not going anywhere, you're not around people, you can still social distance, and even with the restrictions, there's still things that you can do and you can still have a good time and spend time with your family, and it's a really good alternative to going to the beach if you're not able to go to the beach.
Similar to how each county has their own rules, state campgrounds will each operate differently. It is important to check that the park is open before making any arrangements. Camping can provide relaxation to those that enjoy being with nature, allowing them to take a break all while being safe and courteous towards others. This has been Trent Gross with IUP TV.
This COVID-19 also brings out businesses that were not popular before, like grocery store pickups or services like Instacart. Our reporter Karan Burke-Thomas reports how this service works for their customers.
Delivery service like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Postmates, and Instacart have become more useful around the country, while also allowing people who are out of work to make some extra money on the side. Instacart is a grocery shopping app that allows their shoppers to go to the designated store that the customer picked, shop, pay, and deliver their groceries to them. Grocery shopping around the world has become one of the most stressful situations. Even with the virus going around, there is still a good amount of delivery drivers willing to shop and bring your groceries to you. I got a chance to speak to an Instacart delivery driver named Jon Berkey. I have worked for Instacart for a couple months, and it's surprisingly one of the best jobs I've had. Instacart has a partnership with over a dozen retail stores across the country. Most grocery stores still require you to wear a mask while you are shopping. Instacart has helped keep the shoppers safe by sending out health kits filled with masks and hand sanitizer. All you had to do was go online and order. For the Instacart shopper, the app works a little differently for them. This is where the shopper can choose what batch they want to accept. Grocery stores have their own ways of helping shoppers stay safe. Instacart also has an in-app wellness check. The wellness check is a short questionnaire. The first question asks, do you have any of the following symptoms? The second question asks, have you traveled or been in contact with anyone who traveled to any of the countries listed with a level 3 travel health notice by CDC in the past 14 days? Once you answer those questions correctly, you'll be prompted with a nice message, and then you'll be able to continue shopping. One incentive is their weekly promotions. To make sure that their shoppers are greatly appreciated, Instacart has increased the amount of promotions they give out. The process for the Instacart shopper is pretty simple. You start scanning the groceries that the customer requested. Next, the shopper pays for the groceries with the Instacart card. After that, it's on its way to the customer. Because of quarantine and social distancing, Instacart has added a new feature, which is no contact delivery. And with no contact delivery, the shopper places the groceries where the customer asked, and leaving by taking a picture to ensure that your groceries were delivered. The way I see Instacart moving forward is for them to just continue what they are doing, because they're doing a good job of making sure their shoppers sure to wash your hands and be safe during these times. This is Karan Thomas reporting for IUP TV News.
And that's all we have for this week. We'll bring you updates on how people experience green faces in different areas of Pennsylvania. This is Ryan Malone, and don't forget to check our Instagram page. See you next week.